Is it actually going live now?
Howdy. We are having technical issues. I thought it would allow me to use my phone. It did not. So bear with the angle for a sec. So if that's what we're doing. Bear with. If I move this there, we can just prop up against the back of there, and then what you'll have to do is use your phone to read the comments.
Okay.
We'll be waiting in a sec. Been a long time. What was that?
I was just trying to see if there is people live.
Okay, cool. And now we'll just have to. That should work.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, I dropped the light.
We're super organized people.
So organised. Is the laptop got enough charge?
Uh,
Shall I just get rid of it?
it will have to do. Cool.
Do you want this light?
Yes, because I need to.
There you go. Hold on. Let's.
Where will take
What
away?
about turning this one off?
Can you see that? Can you join it on your phone? Because I
Yeah.
can't read it on there. Howdy. Technical issues. Can you guys see the whiteboard all right? I'll explain the technical issues in a second once we've gotten started.
Right, so let's see. Okay, let me turn this down. Okay.
Can you see this all right?
Hi. Let's see. Yes. Lots of people have said yes. And yeah.
Cool. All right.
Nice.
What I intended to do was use my phone as the torch, as the camera, because of the angle with the ring light. But unfortunately, my laptop wouldn't accept that. So we had to just last second it with the webcam. So apologies for the manic startup, but we're here. As you can see, welcome, like, comment, and subscribe. It just helps push out the live stream once it's gone live and helps more people see. I will go through questions in order. So don't feel like you have to donate at all. That's just there for people that are in dire need and want it answered next. So just ask away. If you're happy to wait until I get to you, great. If you absolutely want it to be asked, donation option is there. It's entirely up to you. But this is the presentation live stream. I hope you all enjoy. Katie, if you could read out the comments in each order.
Okay, starting from the very beginning.
And who they are, just so I can kind of gauge.
Okay. Do you want me to read all the hays, or should we go to the first question? Okay,
I'll do the hays for now.
Isa Elysia Ali said hi.
Howdy.
Mr. Guy said hi.
Howdy.
Sam very long name said hi.
Howdy.
Scorpio Angel 6360 said hi.
You can probably just do like the first
Mr. Guy
significant
said
part of the
Anglo-Saxon.
name. Howdy.
Yes. Yasmin said hey. Rashmila
Hi, Yasmin.
said hi. Mr. Guy said yes. To being able to see, and Sam said yes too. Okay, so the first question one is from Koala, and they say, hi Matt, can you talk about the moment when everything feels quiet in an SP manifestation? Movement seems to stop, other SP vanish, creating a void around you, but you feel calm with no anxiety.
Okay, first and foremost, thank you very much for your question. I'll probably have to kneel down for the majority of this presentation. So it would really vary. Sorry, can you read out the question again? I was listening, but I was trying to do this at the same time.
Yeah, so can you talk about the moment when everything feels quiet in an SP manifestation? Movement seems to stop, other SPs have vanished, and it creates a void around you, but you feel calm with no anxiety.
Okay. Glad I got you to read that because I missed that last part. So everything quiet, everyone left. This is actually not an entirely uncommon situation that people will experience. This could be likened to a couple of different things. Now, I would need a little bit more information. So I suppose if you want a little bit more clarity, if you could give me what your rough thoughts have been like, your rough feelings and such leading up to this. So you say that at the moment, in the present, you're calm, which is great. That's a good sign. But leading up to this, if you could let me know. So there's two things that we should consider. There is the Sabbath and there is, I'm just going to put destruction for now. Now, Sabbath is more inclined to your internal state, but that's what you described at the end. This idea of basically whatever's in front of you doesn't concern you. You feel calm, you feel collected, you feel as though it's done. Nothing could get in the way, that kind of stuff. Is there any way we could put a light so that my shadow's not in the way? Where do we need that light to be?
Shall I go and
See if you can, just while I ask this question, if you wouldn't mind, just because I don't want it to
No
block out
worries.
some of the writing. I can't actually fully see. So the Sabbath state is this kind of state of inner peace. It's like the calm before the storm, for want of a better term, but the calm in this instance is, the storm in this instance is your experience coming into play. If you're in the Sabbath state, this can only be a good thing, because the Sabbath state is inner abundance. And we get more of what we are, not what we want. So if you're internally abundant, we might need one of the lights on. If you're internally abundant, then you will become externally abundant. And if that's that's quite good. I don't see any shadow right now. So
okay,
wherever.
what about if I just pop that there?
Well, that's a bit bright for me. If you
Okay.
put it back over there, please.
Okay.
'Cause it
Sorry.
That's fine. Doesn't seem to be any shadow now, or as much. Yeah, that's good. Just leave it there. It's fine. Inner abundance creates external abundance, because what's within creates externally. So if you're in the Sabbath state, if you've been doing good leading up to this moment and you just feel this way, you feel things have gone wrong, but you're in a good place, Sabbath state likened to this down here, which is destruction. Now, like I said, obviously I would need a little bit more clarity. If you've been thinking like doo-doo leading up to this, then this could be as a result of those negative impressions now playing out and you just feel calm and collected. But if you've been doing well up to this point and everything seems to have gone quiet and you're doing well, I would say that this is the Sabbath state, and this leads us down to here where it says destruction. One of my favorite quotes is, in order to create, one must first destroy. So what we've got here, if you've been doing well up to this point, I'm not even looking at the camera, I'm looking at myself. If you've been doing well up to this point, you're impressing your subconscious mind with good things and things still seem to go the other way, I typically would relay it to this quote: in order to create, one must first destroy. This is a good thing, because this means it's leading you open to more possibilities. It definitely will be with these individuals if that's what you're focusing on. But let me just give you a very simple example to help explain this point. If you've been manifesting a job and all of a sudden you get fired, people would probably look at that and be like, I'm fired. Why has this happened? This can only be a bad thing. But in order to create, one must first destroy. What if by being fired, you then look for a job, and that job leads you to dream job? You come across it because you're looking on Indeed or whatever, or a family friend seems to just have a job open available for you. If you had your initial job, you may not have been looking for a new one, thus not getting your dream one, but you were manifesting a new job. But this job needed to be destroyed in order to create the possibility and the journey to get you to that new one. So it's a good thing that it happened. Otherwise, you would have just stayed where you were. So if you've been doing well up to this point, you're in inner abundance, you feel calm, you feel peaceful. That's the calm before the storm. Only this time the storm is a good thing, being your desired outcome, which will lead you to, for want of a better example, your dream job, i.e. your dream, whatever is happening up here that you want to happen. If you've been thinking like crap leading up to this point, then I would say it's likely have you got the answer to that?
Yeah, sorry. So they said going from anxiety, reacting to the 3D, trying to push the 3D, etc., to then feeling calm, relaxed, that I'm married to my SP inside and enjoying my life.
Sorry, can you just do one more clarification? Is that last part where you started like feeling good, is that what you're saying with once all of this stuff went wrong, or is that prior to it going wrong, that was the state you shifted into, then it went wrong and you've been feeling calm since? If you wouldn't mind just answering that, just because the way that my brain understood that made it seem like you were saying that you did really like not great stuff leading up to it, but now you feel like that's what you're doing. So if you could just confirm that, that would be ideal. While we get the clarification on that, can we do the next couple of comments, please?
Yep. So Martin said, I would want to ask questions, but I feel like the me who is in his end wouldn't want to ask those questions.
I think that's a perfectly fair way of understanding this process. The only thing I will say is the whole point of why you're here and getting better at this process is to learn and improve. So if you have a question and it's not hindering and you can just continue doing what you're doing, then I would recommend doing so. But if you've got a question and it's just this burning thing sat in the middle of you that you can't move past, swallow that pride, swallow that end result sort of thing for a moment, ask it, get the answer, then you can go forward effectively. That would be my recommendation.
Okay, so BJ Massey says, is it better to do a routine to stay focused? You hear other coaches say routines feel forced, and I like to affirm 10 minutes 3 times a day.
I think, honestly, it's what fits you. Manifestation is all a journey that you're going to go on, getting you from point A to point B. How you do that will vary. Some people, like those coaches you mentioned, they like just doing some affirmations, just, let's say that this is the day, some in the morning, and then after lunch, they think about it, and then just before bed and maybe in the afternoon. If that works with making their dominant state, if we use that little example that I give in some of the videos, the balancing scale, if doing it sporadically and if and when they feel like helps add weight to their desired outcome, and they don't have too much going on with their undesired outcome, that's fine. But if you, on your journey, you like morning, afternoon, and then in the evening, 10 minutes, routine, structured, and it feels good for you, that's absolutely fine too, as long as it is doing what this is, dominant state. If yours is a routine, but you're in the desired outcome 80% of the time, that's not going to be any less effective than someone not doing a routine 80% of the time being in the end state. It may feel forced for them because they may be forcing it. If it's natural for you, then there's nothing wrong with doing it. That's me done on that. Yay.
Cool. So, Samrid says, my finals are starting tomorrow and they are going my finals are starting tomorrow and they're going to last up to the end of March. I am very tense as I haven't really studied at all. Please help. I want to top. My mindset is so shitty in that area.
Okay, well, first and foremost, I would recommend doing everything you can to accommodate a desired outcome. Just in general, this is just a general food for thought. So if you've got something coming up that studying would benefit, just study. Just do it for your own benefit, for your own peace of mind. But yes, okay, so even if you haven't studied, that isn't necessarily a problem. You can still utilize the power of the subconscious mind. What I would urge for you is you've got the split, you've got the negative stuff, so the bad feelings, and then the positive, i.e. the creative work. Bringing that scale to mind that I mentioned earlier, and I'm probably going to use this scale a lot, but scale to mind, you want to keep the negative to a minimum to stop this from going down. This is the negative, so I'll just put N for now. To stop this from going down, and you want to do as much as you can for the positive to make the positive go down. Add weight to it. So with the negative, you want to try to utilize things that will keep you calm, collected, and trusting in your end result. This could be breathing. I'm just going to put breath for now. Breath work, meditation, EFT tapping, calming music. Hell, you could even start studying now. Anything is better than nothing. And what this is going to do is it's going to keep your nervous system about it regulated. It's going to keep the ego quieter, because as we know from the recent videos, high beta equals ego activation. Alpha and all the other subsequent states, the ego is a lot less active. So by doing these things, you get yourself into that alpha brainwave state, or at the very least out of that beta brainwave length a little bit easier, so that the ego that's sitting there going, you're going to fail, you didn't study, you did this, that, and the other, will be a lot less active, thus stopping so much weight being added to this negative side, allowing it to lighten. And then over here, we've got the positive side, which is the stuff that you can do to add weight to your desired outcome to make it the dominant state. And this could be things like affirming, affirming, visualizing, subliminals, all this kind of stuff, all the stuff that you'll see online. And all of this is going to be adding weight to this desired outcome by utilizing it. So what I recommend for you as like a way of going is do some affirmations, affirm stuff like I've passed, top of the class, like the things that you want to exist to help create that desired outcome. And then whenever anything negative comes to mind, go back to these. Do some deep breathing to calm yourself down. If you've got the time, do a meditation. If you've got calming music playing, listen to it and enjoy it. Do these sorts of things to help calm the mind down and to stop the ego from going, you're going to fail, you're going to fail, you're going to fail. And then redirect back to utilizing some affirmations of your passing and so on. And one additional thing that I did when I passed my driving test was literally the night before, I just repeated the affirmations as I was falling asleep so that it really impressed my subconscious mind just before I did my test. And for those of you that know my driving story, my instructor basically said that I was going to fail my driving test due to various circumstances that were obviously not out of my control, but things like my initial instructor not being very good and so on. I did this process and I passed despite even my own instructor basically saying I wasn't going to pass. So it definitely works. Fall asleep affirming your desired outcome and you'll surprise yourself. Hopefully that helped. Next one.
Yeah. How do you keep the... Sorry.
Are you reading the nice comments as well, if there is any in between?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So Isa? Anyway, they say, how do you keep the bliss after marriage, manifesting wise?
Well, manifestation, if we look at it for what it is, manifestation is just the conscious... I think I spelled conscious wrong. I think it's supposed to go the other way around. You think after writing conscious as many times as I had in my life, I'd get it right. Manifestation is just the conscious application of the end result. Manifestation is just you actively placing yourself in the end result of things being, doing, or having the way that you want them to be, do, or have. So when you say how do you keep it marriage-wise from manifestation perspective, do what you can to keep an elevated marriage mindset. Elevated marriage mindset. What I see too often, or I have seen often enough to say too often, is people will get into a desired outcome from their manifestation perspective. And then they think, now that I'm here, I don't need to do anything. And partly that's true, but also it's a little bit of a fallacy to fall into. You now, because you have it, you now have the natural assumption that it is yours, which is what keeps it in play. But just the same as when things are bad, if you reside in the end result, you can create something good. The assumption of having it then being swapped out for negative thoughts and complaints and all this kind of stuff causes you to lose it. Just the same way as many of us before we found this lost something, which is what got us here. So what we want to do is we have this natural assumption that we have it. We then want to further accentuate that, which means when we have things pop up in our reality that we don't like, we do the same process to keep our mind under control. Now, I wouldn't necessarily say that we are doing that from a manifestation perspective. You're just keeping a positive mindset about the marriage, which just so happens to manifest it further, because you've already got it anyway, because this assumption has created it. So by having an elevated marriage mindset, this gives it to you. The assumption of it being there, that's why you have it in physical reality, is what keeps it to play out. But if you then start overcoming that assumption of having it with nothing but negative thoughts, you'll lose it. So we do the opposite. You have it in reality. Stay positive about it. Keep in mind all of this stuff, because then that allows you to keep it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, it's really funny.
Hopefully that makes sense.
Okay, so next comment. BJ Massey says yes. I'm assuming that was to can you see us? Okay. But we are very far behind on the comments.
Oh dear.
So then Mr. Guy says, I am a white American guy and I hope to manifest a British girlfriend with little fingers crossed emojis. And you are beautiful.
You talking to me or you?
I don't know. I assume you.
Thanks. If you want a British chick, just get them tea. That's all it is. I'm going to try to draw a big
No,
cup for
iced
you.
lattes.
Oh yeah, they're
Yeah.
devolving a little bit now.
Yeah.
Tea. There you go. That's all the diagram you need. If you want a British chick, get tea or iced latte or
There's some oat milk.
yeah, or just have a tattoo sleeve. That seems to work a lot lately. There you go. You don't need manifestation. Just go out and get some Tetley tea bags and you'll be all good. But yeah, I say fingers crossed. If you get yourself an English chick, it's probably not what you're used to. So prepare is all I can say. Especially if it's one of them Londoners. Oh no. next.
Okay, so Les Guidance says, hello everyone. Thank
Howdy.
you, Matthew, for your videos.
You're very welcome. It's my pleasure.
And then a tick.
A tick, yeah.
I thought you'd draw like a happy face. Like, well, you know, like that emoji that's like.
I can't draw that. There you go. There's my happy face. Can you guys see it all right? Like, is the diagram coming through well enough?
I can see it on my phone.
Okay,
I think
cool. Just because
one of these, but I can't work out which one it is. This one is very reflecty.
Oh, okay,
so
cool.
if I take it away and put it down here.
Let me write something. Is that better?
I think so.
Okay, cool.
Right, okay, so sorry, little stop there. Christopher says, hiya. I have a fear of feeling unsafe around people. Been trying to remove this for 5 years now, and I'm not sure what to target to remove this feeling.
Why do you feel unsafe? If you could answer that for me, I can then be a little bit more tailored in my answer. If you're feeling unsafe, you say you try to remove it, obviously a little bit on what you've done would also be a little bit helpful, so I could know. But if you're feeling unsafe, and I'm going to just go on the assumption that it's surface level stuff that you've tried to use to remove it, at least for now, then it kind of would make sense, because if it's coming from, and again, this is speculation, so if you could give me some answers, but if you're coming from like a deep trauma wounded place, like, you know, dad left when you needed him most, mum was only available after the bottom of a bottle kind of situation, then yeah, just saying things like, I don't taste, I attract, I'm safe in love and stuff probably isn't going to be doing all that much, because on the surface you're like, la-di-da, this is great, but underneath you've got deep dad left, mum didn't love you kind of wounds, which need a little bit more specific addressing. So if you could give me a little bit more context on where the feeling of unsafe comes from, if you're happy to share it in a live stream, then I can be more tailored. But at least for now, what I could say is see where it comes from and try and work on it, targeting the specific area if you're not already. And with things like self-concept is, I mean, there's multiple areas of self-concept, but just like you got self-respect and then you've got self-efficacy. These are the two sort of cornerstones of self-concept. And then within that, you've got obviously other subcategories. But what I found from my own experiences of sort of feeling unsafe in love is this self-efficacy area. Self-efficacy, for those of you that don't know, is your trust in yourself to overcome the basic challenges of life. Heartbreak, rejection, being poor, things like having lower months than you're used to, for example, financially, things like that. The stuff that pretty much everyone experiences from time to time. Self-efficacy is your trust in yourself to overcome that. If one's self-efficacy is low, and this is what I experienced in myself, you don't trust yourself to overcome heartbreak. Don't trust yourself to overcome the heartbreak. So why bother dealing with it? I'm just going to make myself not feel safe enough to even dive into it. So with this, what you can do to work on, and this obviously then breeds itself into self-respect, and this is what a lot of men in today's world are definitely culprits for, because they don't trust in themselves to overcome the heartbreak. They will then do anything they can to keep people, so much so that they're losing respect in themselves as a result of doing so. This is why they simp, for example, is just one thing, because they've lost that self-respect. So what I recommend for you here is to address the root cause. Like I said, for example, if you had a dad walked out on you, something that you could do just on the fly is revise it through, I have always felt safe in love, or I have always felt safe and secure in love. And this will kind of trick your subconscious mind to say, this is how it's always been, thus helping it create going forward. But the other thing that you can do, so that's with affirmations or any other technique, but for argument's sake, is tangible things. Action. Self-concept is one of the few areas that I think actually really benefits from action more than anything else, or not more than anything else, but more than most of the other topics that people will discuss on manifestation channels, because it's all your trust in yourself and your self-image, your self-respect. So with this here, start actually doing things that put you in that unsafe environment to fail and then overcome it. The more that you actually put yourself in those positions and then deal with the struggles as they come, the more that you'll see that you can overcome them. And then the more that you'll begin to trust yourself to overcome them. I don't remember who said this quote, so if you do know, please put it in so that other people can see it. But there's a really great quote where if someone asks you, or if someone gives you an opportunity that you know nothing about, take it and learn on the job. Because you will. You'll learn more actually doing it than you will sitting back not doing it through fear and thinking that you could never do it. But that's obviously a general example. If you had more information for me, I could tailor a bit more, but I think that should be substantial enough for you to be able to at least get started with.
So Daily English says, hi.
Hi.
Candy Crazy says, it's perfect, guys. I think, again, this was back to...
Are we that far behind?
Yeah, we're
God
very
damn.
far behind.
Sorry.
Sorry, guys. Then Mr. Guy says, your blonde hair is beautiful. No, I assume.
I think you talk about
my hair.
You're fine.
Oh, thanks. And then Koala, oh, we did that one. So that was the follow-up question. So Pratik says, what to do if I feel sorry, I have absolutely butchered that question. What to do if I feel affirming feels like lying to myself?
Ego. If you feel like affirming is lying to yourself, that's because your human ego has gotten in the way and basically said, well, that's not true because of this, and this. Perfectly normal. That's its job, really, is to look at this 3D reality and utilize it for safety and so on. And to, if you put your hot hand on a hot stove, this is there to stop you doing it again. It feels like lying because it's aware of the 3D reality in that moment. So if you feel like you're lying to yourself, take a little bit of extra time just to do maybe a little meditation or some breath work or theta music. Theta music is, theta brainwave link, for those of you that don't know, is that space between conscious and unconscious in sleep. This is where SATS is typically done in what I like to refer to as the no man's land of the mind, basically. Anything like that basically gets you into calmer and collected states, because the calmer and more relaxed you are, the more you'll step into these alpha brainwave states. An alpha brainwave state is associated with the parasympathetic nervous system, which is associated with rest and digest. So it's a calm place to be. The ego shuts off because there's no danger, there's no opposition, there's no contrary stimulation. The subconscious mind opens up because it does in those more relaxed spaces. So if you can do these sorts of things, or anything that makes you feel specifically calm first, get yourself into a more calm and relaxed space, then you can get into this, which will then make it easier and feel more truthful. A very, very good place for this is the shower. There's something about like the hot water that just really relaxes and opens up the subconscious mind. This is why so many people have some of their greatest ideas in the shower, because their conscious mind has stepped aside a little bit, or at least like the ego side, and their subconscious mind is more able to provide its own signals, its own thoughts, and so on. This is why if you've had an argument with someone, it's not until you get in the shower that you go, oh shit, I should have said that. It's because your subconscious mind goes, here, I could have bodied that person for you, and gives you some ways.
Oh, I bought you a cloth in. Sorry.
Oh, thank you. Just doing my edit.
And then I forgot to tag you.
Thanks.
Yeah, is that better?
Yeah, it's much better. Much appreciated.
Right. Next question. So, Mr. Guy says, right, there's 3, so I'm just going to read them all out. I want to manifest abundance.
Yep.
I want to be luckiest.
Yep.
And I want to travel to every European country.
I'm just going to put travel. I didn't put in all that. Okay, abundance, lucky, and traveling. This is all going to come with the same sort of principles. The principles from desire to don't really change, but I'll give you some ideas. Abundance, start seeing yourself more abundant. So claim it through affirmations. I'm extremely abundant. Each month I make more money than the last. Every day in every way, my abundance gets better and better. Those are just a couple of examples. Claim it, and then do not contradict yourself through thought and feeling. For example, if you spend 10 minutes in the morning affirming, 10 minutes affirming in the morning, and then go through your day going, oh, and I suppose this would account for lucky as well, and go through your day going, oh, nothing goes my way. Nothing goes my way. Of course, this would happen to me, and it's something negative. When it rains, it pours, and all you're doing is moaning about circumstances, then you're basically just saying, I'm not abundant. An abundant person, even if they have bad things happen to them, will just brush it off and they'll be fine. A prime example, and Katie always laughs at me like this, about this, I got 2 tickets a couple of months ago from London, not speeding tickets, not paying toll tickets. And she's always like, but that's £90. They were like £180 for the 2 of them. I just brushed it off because why would it bother me? You know, like, yes, money's going, but it's not money that I needed. You know, I could pay those tickets and not even notice it. So if I was in an unabundant state, I'd panicked and stuff like that. And same thing with lucky, you know, claim that you're lucky, do your stuff, do your routine, your processes, whatever you do, but do not, for the love of God, enter in any kind of, I'm unlucky, things just don't go my way, and yada, yada, yada. If things don't go your way, brush it off. That's not part of your experience because you're lucky. And as for the traveling, same sort of thing, claim it, do your routine and whatever it is that you're trying to do to create it. And don't start to sit there and contradict yourself and say, but this will never work out. I'll never get to go there. I'll never get enough money to do XYZ thing. And one thing for travel specifically, focus on the travel, not the money. When people focus on money to get something like traveling, to get some kind of material thing, it's very easy for that money to find its way to something else. I'm just going to put else for it. You didn't see that. I was going to put else for argument's sake. Take, for example, I'm manifesting to go to Brazil for a month. You know, I £5,000 is what I need. I get the £5,000, but oh, that new shiny car seems like a good idea. I then spend £3,000 and I'm down to £2,000. Got a car to show for it, but I don't get to travel. And then people will go, oh, manifestation doesn't work because I didn't get to travel. No, your manifestation was that of money. You just blew the money. So with travel, focus on the destination already being in play, because you could get the money, you could get a prize, and that would even come down to that lucky idea. Maybe you win a competition, you could have a friend offer you to go. There's a plethora of different ways that travel could come into place. So don't focus on money to get travel, focus on travel to get travel. Oh yeah, thanks. Otherwise, that money is just fruitless.
I think as well with that one, what's important is not focusing on logistics.
Yeah,
because the minute I think about wanting to go on holiday, I think, but oh no, now I have to go on an airplane. Oh no, now I have to, and then I try and like plan each little step of it in my head, and it's like then you spend more time worrying about how you're actually going to do it and how you're going to get there and what's, you know, each step going to be, that you don't actually focus on being there.
Yeah, and that is called lack. Or not revolting, going back to the previous thing, that self-efficacy element, it could be considered you not being able to overcome what did I spell wrong?
No, it's just what is that?
Oh, you not being able to overcome the troubles of travel. So even as ridiculous as it sounds, self-concept could even help your traveling situation. So this all kind of goes hand in hand. This is why I do preach so much about self-concept and yada, yada, yada. But hopefully that helps.
So Nick says, oh, I love that you guys are doing lives.
Yeah, we used to do them quite frequently.
We just have a new cat called Nick.
Yeah, we actually do. It's Nick for short. It's Onyx for long.
For long.
But yeah, we used to do them quite frequently. But then when the baby came around, we were both just like, I'm so tired. I just want to sit down.
Yeah.
Was that a donation?
Oh, yeah.
Donation means your question gets answered next, by the way.
Oh, that's lovely. There's no question with it.
Oh, well, thank you very much for the donation. If you have a question, put it in and we'll skip you.
I'll just have a look and see.
Yeah, just in case it was separate.
I haven't. Oh, hold on. Yes, there is one. Hi, what to do when you're having trouble imagining?
When you say having trouble imagining, are you referring to visualization, which is often kind of misconstrued with imagining, or do you mean having trouble placing yourself through any kind of technique into a state of having what you want? If you could clarify that, then we'll jump you again.
Okay, right. Okay, so the next one is Martin. Well, my question would be, I know that you've answered it recently too. I'm living in I'm living in my end with my girl. I met her for the first time in the 3D last Saturday. I came off needy and I tried to grab her hand. She said she likes to take things slow and has boundaries, but obviously I didn't respect them. She also asked if I support Trump, and I tried to cover a hickey with makeup. Lol. Next day she blocked me. So what should I do? And the other me would ask, is it possible to change my circumstances? And how can I do it quickly, I guess? I know I can, though, and I am... I can't find... Oh, I think that might be it. I know that I can, and I am.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
So yeah, you can change your circumstances. Circumstances, let me give you this little analogy. Say these are different kinds of cups, just for argument's sake. Circumstances are nothing but the water that you fill in these cups. They will take shape of this. So the circumstances is the water, the cup is the consciousness that you've created. So with this, each one of these is interchangeable because all you need to do is pick a different shape to harbor your liquid and it will do it because consciousness is fluid. So what that's to say is, yes, circumstances don't change because circumstances are not solid. Circumstances are fluid that will take shape of any kind of container you put them in, the container being the consciousness that you dwell in. So if you start dwelling in positive conscious states, then you will be able to shift your circumstances away from negative ones, first and foremost. Secondly, and this is just food for thought, going back to this self-concept thing, and I'm not going to make any judgment or assumption about you because I don't know you personally, but you're trying to dodge the question. Now, I can understand why you would in today's day and age with how split political parties are and everything, but you're trying to dodge the question in one form or another, and I'm going to let you figure this one out for yourself, but in one form or another is as the result of a self-concept concern, because you're avoiding your views or sharing them at the extent of this other person. Now, the caveat to that, and this is just purely food for thought, but the caveat to that is obviously you don't want to be going around telling the next person that will listen how much you hate Trump or love Trump or whatever it may be. But in future, and this goes for everybody, in future, I highly recommend you do not sacrifice yourself at the extent of other people. This could be your views, your time, your love, anything like that. If you're doing something to please someone else and it goes against some part of you, I would highly recommend you cut that out, because your self-concept will be hindered. Your subconscious mind will see that as if I can't even stand up for me or stand by me, why would anybody else stand by me? And that can hinder you more than you think. Your inner warrior, for want of a better term, is always listening. And if you won't stand by you, it's going to be difficult for other people to stand by you. But that is just purely food for thought. He asked if circumstances were able to be changed, and he mentioned that part. What was the other parts of this part of his question? Pretty sure there was like one more section.
What was the name? Okay, so Martin. Also, somebody put my questions being skipped. It's not. It's because their question is in different parts going down. So I jump back up to those ones. It's just because they're in different paragraphs, spaced out with questions.
Yeah, YouTube only allows like a little section.
Yeah. So what should I do? So she says she likes to take things slow and has boundaries, but obviously I didn't respect them. And then that's when she asked if I support Trump and tried to cover Hickey with makeup. Next day, she blocked me. So what should I do? And the other me would ask, is it possible to change my circumstances, and how can I do it quickly?
Okay, I'm going to clarify. I think I maybe misheard or misunderstood the covering the Hickey with covering the Trump question. So if you didn't try and cover up for your answer, then ignore everything I just said. I think I misunderstood that section. So these are just circumstances, like, yes, in the 3D, you may have like crossed the boundary and so on, and she's blocked it. But again, like I said, those are just circumstances. Your reality is just filling the shape of the container you give it through consciousness. So from here, what you're going to want to do is the best you can to get your noggin, the stuff going on here, focused on the desired outcome to create it, and then turning away from the undesired. So whenever anything comes up about that situation, whether it's like thoughts about it, I screwed it up, she's blocked me, anything that could keep your mind attached to, let's say, this container for now, this is the bad one, you're going to turn away from it, do some deep breathing if necessary, EFT tapping, all that stuff that I've spoken about, and then guide consciousness. That's the same shape. Let me just, so I can keep the congruency of it. Guide your consciousness into this one, where you can say stuff like, we're in consistent and loving communication, or we're in a loving relationship if that's what you want, and so on. Your brain, make sure it's focused on the outcome. If it goes to the undesired outcome, utilize those self-regulating methods if necessary to help get your mind back onto the positives of you having what it is that you would like with her. While I can understand, especially, from a guy's perspective, when you accidentally step over one of those boundaries, it can definitely feel like you're fucked up. But from a manifestation perspective, don't sweat it. Just, live and learn, and then go into consciousness and do the right stuff and go from there.
Okay, so Candy Crazy. I have been manifesting my SP since 2024.
Okay.
Nothing seems to work. I feel anxious all the time, checking the 3D, imagining negative scenarios.
Okay. The only problem that I have with these kinds of instances is your bold statement of nothing seems to work, followed by this is what I've been doing. It's working perfectly, unfortunately. It's just not working in the way you want it to, but your mind isn't working in the way that you want it to. If you're focusing on the negative, if you're checking the 3D, if you're anxious, you're showing your subconscious mind that you don't have it. And that is exactly what is creating, which isn't that nothing is working. It seems to be working, but you don't want what is working. So you must change what you are doing. And this goes back to, that diagram that I gave you of the balancing scale. Right now, this is the undesired reality. This is the good reality. Right now, you are adding so much weight with the anxieties, the checking, the imagining negative, that this is practically hitting the floor. And this, I'm assuming you're doing some good work, so we'll give you the benefit of that and saying that this has got 5 pounds worth of weight on it, for example. But this is hitting the floor, and that is exactly what you are experiencing when you say nothing seems to be working. So you're actually manifesting perfectly. We just need to get you doing the right manifestation work so you can perfectly manifest what it is that you want to do. And that, like I mentioned in one of the more, I think it's actually the most recent video that I just did, we want to be ensuring that we are stating the positive and doing the best we can to remove the negative. The way that I recommend doing so is to just keep an awareness of your thoughts, keep a mental inventory. When a thought comes to mind, is it positive or is it negative? If it's positive, let it play out. If it's negative, do some deep breathing if necessary to calm the body and mind down. Ooh, that's meant to say breathing. Do some deep breathing to calm the body and mind down. And then when you feel more calm, then go back to affirming the positive. Rinse and repeat until it happens.
Martin said thank you and sent you a gift.
Oh, thank you very much. You're very welcome. It's my pleasure. Did we get an answer to the other person that donated?
No, I just had a look through and I can't see any other comments from that.
Okay, well, please do make sure you comment. I do want to make sure that you get the most out of your donation. Thank you very much, both of you, for the donations. They are greatly appreciated. And for those of you that don't know, it's purely just if you want your question answered next, you can donate as like a way.
Oh, that might be another reason why they thought we skipped. If somebody does put a little donation, we try and do their question and then go back.
Yeah,
but we do get to hopefully all of them.
What time is it?
It is 9:15.
Jesus.
Yeah, right. So
At 9, by the way.
oh, what? I've lost my space. This is the only problem. On the computer, it's a lot easier.
It definitely is.
Far away.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've really lost it now.
No, it's fine.
Oh, sorry, it just jolted down to the bottom
It still
again.
does that.
Oh no. I just found it. Somebody said you're the greatest manifestation coach. I feel like they were called Sizweds.
Thanks.
So let me just find that one again.
Much appreciated.
Yeah, Sizwed said my favorite manifestation coach.
Thank you very
much. Nangom says I'm so excited. Never caught you live. It's because we haven't done it for about 2 years.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Hey, Robert Anderson says, "Hey Matt, can you talk? Can you talk what's happening when you've reached the Sabbath truly and you live without looking for anything, enjoying life, but nothing happens for a year?"
One thing I will have to just query, just to be sure on that. You're in the Sabbath state, which is great. You know, that's the place we want to be. But are your stories regarding your desired outcome what you want them to be? Because I've seen this before where people get to a place of bliss, inner bliss, their self-concept is through the roof, they're earning money, they're doing amazing. So they think they're in the Sabbath state, which to a degree they are. Has you got an answer?
No, I missed one.
Oh, okay, we're good. We'll do that one next.
Yeah, sorry.
So people think like, oh, I'm in the Sabbath state, I'm in all of these really good states. But when you look deeper, they still hold the assumption of their desire to not be the way they want it to be. So they're like on top of the world, everything is amazing. But when they think of their person, for example, they still think of her as the one that got away, for example. So if you've been in the Sabbath state for a year, I would be inclined to ask you, are you going down this path or this path, just to be certain? Because the Sabbath state is typically associated with fast results or like soon to be results. So a year is longer than I would typically expect a Sabbath state to last before getting some results. So I would recommend considering this for now and then going from there.
Sorry, so it's Katie Joe. And
hi, Katie.
Yeah, hey. So hi Matthew and Katie. I have been so much happier and healthier since coaching last month. Question. I am dating someone new. I like them, but it's not my SP. Can one still manifest SP? And then PS, I know this has been asked before. I just thought it would be really good for others to hear as well. And also she did donate, which is what made me notice that she missed.
Oh, I see.
And she said, question about dating in the log. Thanks, guys. So sorry I missed you, Katie. But yeah, thank you very much.
While I insist, do you mind just grabbing me a drink, please?
Yeah, of course. What would you like?
Can I have a water, please?
Yes.
So first and foremost, again, thank you very much for the donation. It's greatly appreciated. And also, I'm very glad to hear that you've been doing really well since our coaching last month. Now, in short, can you date others while manifesting, or can you manifest someone else while dating? Because it's the same sort of thing. In short, yes. And I'll give you a very logical reason for this. And then I can give you a manifestation reason. Let me just put that here. Manifest. Very logical reason. If you were not able to, thank you very much. I'm going to sip for a straw. If you were not able to date someone while manifesting someone else, considering that we can all consciously understand that the subconscious mind creates your reality, if it was impossible to get person 2 while dating person 1, or date person 1 while trying to do whatever, then polyamorous relationships wouldn't exist, cheating wouldn't exist, dating multiple people wouldn't exist. Because the subconscious mind, if you were not able to manifest one while with the other, because it got confused, for example, none of these would be able to exist because the first person would have to be gotten rid of to make way for the second one. So that's the logical reason why you can. It's not mutually exclusive. And what that means is dating one person, being in a relationship with someone, hell, even being married to someone doesn't stop you from having someone else. Just the same way as you cannot be single and taken at the same time, because they are opposite ends of the spectrum. They are mutually exclusive. In order to be single, you cancel out to be taken. In order to be taken, you cancel out being single. Being with someone doesn't cancel out anybody else. The only reason why it would be from a moral perspective of if you said, I cannot do this because of my moral standpoint. But to the subconscious mind, one person and another person being side by side is acceptable. So from a logical perspective, yes. From a manifestation, that was the manifestation perspective what I just gave you, the mutually exclusive side. So from the manifestation perspective and the way the subconscious mind works, it can't give you mutually exclusive things. You can't sit in a state of being broke and get riches. You can't be a state of riches and be broke, if that makes sense. Same thing, you can't be single and taken at the same time. So from a manifestation perspective, yes, you can manifest multiple people at the same time because they do not cancel each other out. The only way that they would is if you sit there and say, it won't work because I morally cannot do that. To which then obviously you wouldn't be able to sit consistent with that story. But in short, yes, you can. And a side note, it can also be beneficial under certain circumstances because it may help you release some of that attachment to the initial person.
Okay, so Sam Red says, thank you. It really helped. I am studying to the best of my abilities.
Good to hear it. Keep it up.
And then Robert Anderson said, I also have a great mental diet and literally have become the best version of myself.
Glad to hear that.
That one's retracted. So Robert Anderson says, can we ask Katie? I can't remember if you all shared it before, but truly, what were you feeling as Matthew was living in his end? Okay, so I'm not going to draw on the board because I'm sat in my lovely chair. But what I was feeling was, so I have spoken about it before. And
just quickly, it's on the membership. You can see the full video of her talking about it if you're interested in seeing.
Oh, okay, yeah. And it was, so I was actually almost like completely unaware, and then just suddenly I had like a switch in my head, and so I woke up in my morning and I was going to go and I had plans, I had things booked in, I had like a full schedule, and instead I had this like sudden like magnet feeling of like, oh, I'm actually going to get in my car and drive to Matthew's house, and that's what I did. So literally it went from just being broken up, being very sad, being very upset, to suddenly just being like, I have all my plans, I'm going to go off and do my plans today. I messaged everybody that I was meant to see that day, like my mum and everybody. I was like, oh, sorry, I'm busy now. And I got in my car and I went to Matthew's house instead. So
if you remember, if you saw Monday's video, I said about the thought transmission, and I said that oh Jesus, I can't spell. Can't speak either. Yeah, Jesus. When doing thought transmission, it comes through as their own thoughts, and there's Katie's personal experience of that being the case. But if you're interested in Katie's like longer, full explanation on any tier of the membership, is the video where she explains that along with a bunch of other stuff. So I urge you to go check it out and get all the bonuses, but it's there if you want it.
So the next one is Daily English. I really want to hear your ideas on long distance relationships. It triggers me, although I'm planning to immigrate. Also, we're drawn to each other, but we are not in a committed relationship.
Can you read out the first part again, please?
Yeah, so I really want to hear your ideas on long distance relationships.
So, stop scratching this over. Long distance relationships, the principles stay the same. And I know that circumstances, it may feel worse, and I can objectively sit there and say that I think that I would struggle more in a long distance relationship than, if we lived in the same town, for example. But long distance relationships, if we go back to that analogy of the different containers, it's just a different container. What I would say in long distance relationships is, of course, stay committed to the end. especially if you're open to moving and such things like that. That's all like really positive on, it will hopefully help your end result. But you're going to want to stay committed to the end mentally to create what you want. But one thing that I will say is with long distance relationships, it is very easy to get stuck in the what they're doing and all those kinds of things. Easier, I think, than it is, say, if they were living just in the same street. So what I would say is to occupy yourself. One thing I haven't spoken about today, and I will just make this diagram smaller while I talk about it, is default mode network. Now, default mode network, let me just put this over here. Let me just do this real quick. Default mode network. Oh, that's a B. Can you tell my brain can't write and talk at the same time? Default mode network is a term coined by Marcus E. I think it's this way of spelling it, but I might be wrong. Marcus E. Reichley. And this is essentially what your brain does when it's not occupied. It's actually a defense mechanism. So your brain is obviously built to keep you alive. It will do what it can to keep you safe mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. Even so much so that it will make you dwell in negative stuff to do that. If you're in a long distance relationship, and with that long distance relationship comes negative feelings, worries, doubts, fears, and so on, your brain in default mode network is trying to think of ways to help you move past it. The only problem is it never actually gets to a solution. It just stays ruminating on the negative. So it stays in this constant spinning cycle. It's attempting to help you move past the negatives of this state, but it never actually does. But the reason why it does that is, like I said, to try and get you past it. So it's trying to do a good thing, but it makes you feel a bad way. When we occupy ourselves, our default mode network slows down a little bit, which means we are literally stopping ourselves from thinking badly because our brain doesn't have the space to do so. It's a really weird system that it has, but you can see the logic behind it. If I think about this thing over and over, eventually I'll get to a solution, but it never actually gets to that solution. So in the long distance relationship, live in the end. I'm in a loving, committed relationship with person and I love living together. If you want to create that living together, things like that. But in the meantime, occupy yourself and live your best life. So you're not sitting there ruminating on all the bad stuff. That's a symbol for bad stuff. And that will really help.
Great symbol.
Okay,
so
we'll do a couple more because it's already nearly 9:30.
Okie dokie. So the next one, so Nangom has put in a
donation.
Yes.
Oh, thank you very much.
So they said that there is a couple of questions in the chat. So I just scrolled through. So after manifesting my SP, I find myself bored with him, then wonder if I should manifest more from him, which is a lot of changes, or manifest a new person who already has the things that I want. Any advice? So that's question one. Did you want to
let me answer that one first? Yeah. Okay, so that's a perfectly valid question. New, that's an M. I promise I know my language. Do you go for the new person? Do you go for the old? It would really, or changes in the old. It would really depend on what would bring you more joy in the process. If you feel like you would get more joy thinking of all the possibilities, whether they're 6 foot, whether they're muscular, whether they're whatever it is, and you're like, the surprise is there, go for the new. If maybe there's some nostalgia and you just know that the old person could be so amazing if they just changed XYZ and you want to commit to that, then do that. There's no right or wrong answer in this situation. They're both perfectly acceptable and they're both perfectly possible. I would honestly urge you to do what would bring you joy, both in the journey of changing and with the outcome. Because if you're like, oh, I'd love the old version to change, but the journey sucks, then you could consider, well, the new person would be a whole new surprise, and you can go from there. So it's more of I can't really give you much more than that. That's just what I would recommend, but take of that what you will.
Okay, so I manifested SP back and I wanted him to also think of me as his bestie, but now I can't get him to fully commit. I want commitment, him to invite me out when he goes out and him to tell everyone that I'm his girlfriend. And she also says you two are cute together.
Thank you very much. I do most of the heavy lifting. Yeah, okay. So this would be, again, go back to that little analogy of the container. Him not showing you what you want is just circumstance. And circumstance are a result of consciousness. Consciousness. So if you want him to take up a different container of action, you have to reside within a different state of consciousness. So, for example, you want him to claim that you're his girlfriend. You could affirm something like SP lets everyone know I am his GF, for example. And that will, with consistency of dwelling in consciousness to that state, if we go back to the balance and scale analogy, the more that you commit to this state of consciousness of SP lets everybody know I am his girlfriend, for example, the more weight you're adding to the positive story. And then subsequently, anytime you find yourself reacting or thinking or feeling in accordance to him not doing the things that you want, you're adding weight to this side, which obviously we don't want because this is the undesired. So anytime you're getting thoughts, feelings, actions, awareness, reactions, anything like that that states you don't have what you want, take a deep breath, calm yourself down, redirect yourself back to this affirmation or another affirmation that you would rather put in its place, and that will then help add weight to that story. And you want it to be your dominant story, so it's better for you to just turn away from what he's not doing and just go into consciousness and see him doing what it is that you want him to do. Did you say there was 3 questions or?
No, I think that was all of them. There's lots of people at the bottom very confused on where we're getting our questions from. What it is that because we have so many, and obviously they take a long time to answer, they're all the way at the top. So if you can't see them, it's because we make our way down and we do as many as we possibly can, one after the other. But I promise I'm not ignoring people. I'm not picking and choosing. I have my phone here to try and get through them. And I scroll back up and find the next one that we're on. So that's just the way it kind of goes in. So we have, yes, we can see the diagram. Somebody said, no, we can't see, but nobody else did complain of that. So that's how far back we are. We spoke about whether or not you could see the board about at the beginning. But yeah. So Lauren says the best SP affirmation question.
This one, and I'll die on this hill. I'll read it out to you obviously once I'm done. Let me just write it. I need dramatic suspense.
Da, 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 da.
I wish I hadn't decided to commit to writing it.
Ba, 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 ba.
Oh, screw the capital letters. So, and the spelling. I am in a loving and committed relationship with, and then insert their name. That's one of my favorites. It's quick, it's easy, loving, commitment. You can add other things in as well, like loving, passionate, and committed relationship. But that's what I would say. I'm in a loving, committed relationship, loving and committed relationship with SP. That would be, obviously you say their name, but that would be my recommendation.
So Cassandra says, hi, Matthew and Katie. I hope you are well. We are both very well. And then Cassandra also says, I was wondering I have trouble understanding my own emotions and wanted to know if there's a difference between imagining and visualizing, and if so, how to distinguish between them.
Okay, so first and foremost, to decipher between your own emotions, I would recommend writing them down. Quite often an emotion, if we break it up like this, is energy in motion. So an emotion would be easier for you to identify if you break it down. Sometimes what seems like anger is actually stemming from hurt. And if you go, I'm just going to put anger. So I'm angry at Katie, for example. And I sit there and go, why am I angry? Because she left me on red. And it's like, okay, why does that make me angry? Reminds me of my dad who abandoned me. Okay, well, why would her leaving me on red remind me of my dad? Well, because he left me and that made me feel wounded. And I'm like, okay, so I feel wounded. And what does that wound make me feel? It makes me feel sad and forgotten. So what was expressing as anger actually just turned out to be sadness and the feeling of forgotten. So if you do this sort of rough thing where you go and break it down bit by bit, you can help actually get to the root cause of what your emotion not only is, but where it comes from, making it easier for you to resolve it. Oh, hi, Kat. You scared the crap out of me. And then for the other part, imagination and visualization. So imagination is consciousness. Visualization is a form of imagination. So imagination is basically in consciousness through awareness residing in the unreal. Unreal as far as the physical reality. To do this, you could affirm, script, visualize, and then inner conversations and so on and so forth. So visualization is a form of residing in the unreal internally. Visualization is visual thoughts. Affirmations are spoken thoughts. Scripting is written thoughts, for example. So that's the difference. The visualization is done like in like the mind's eye, for want of a better term. Imagination is just residing within consciousness in a state of that isn't physically real. Is there any donations at all?
Not
did you have something to say on that?
Oh yeah, I did. So I have I don't know how, like a visual help sheet of emotions, which I think would also be really helpful. It's like a wheel, and I think it's called the feelings wheel or something. You can find them on Google and stuff, but it starts off with like the 5 most basic ones, like anger, happy, sad, and it stems off a little bit, and as it gets out, I think there's 3 rings, and on the outside ring it has all of the like the very different complex emotions that go into those 3, 5, whatever it is, major big ones right in the middle. So that, I think also that visual aid might help you kind of decipher what he was saying about why am I, where does it go, and it kind of, you could use it to stem outwards and be like, right, so I'm actually very frustrated, not just, you know, whatever it may be. But yeah, that would, I think, be handy to that one.
I'm going to do one more if there's no donation, so I'll let you just pick randomly.
There is no more donations that I can see.
My knees are shot.
I know. He's getting down on one knee. But for you guys, not for me. Right, so let's just have a look, and should we just read all of the... You want one more question?
Yeah.
That's so stressful. I'm just going to go with the next one. Okay. So Yasmin says, I watched your videos on the Purge today. As I don't check the 3D at all because it can't validate me, I'm wondering if it can be emotional rather than circumstance, like emotional self-concept breakthrough.
Yeah, absolutely. Say this is your laptop. I'm just going to draw the space bar so you can...
That is a terrible laptop.
You hush down.
You also now have a dot on your top.
That's fine. And then this is a file on your laptop. If you try and delete this file, so you put it in the bin. Shush! So you try and put it in the bin. Your computer goes, are you sure? You have the option between yes or no. What you pick there is the deciding factor to what happens to that file. If you say yes, it goes, you're clear of the file. If you say no, it stays, you're not clear of the file. Emotional purges are very much real, and what they are is they are your ego plus conscious and subconscious, believe it or not. What one has most control in this moment, I honestly cannot say. I think it would vary depending on the kind of thoughts that you're having, the kind of emotional purges and so on. But this is basically your mind, the contents of your mind saying, are you sure you want to get rid of that inner file that you have been living with for so long? Because if you do, then you enter the unknown, which scares the shit out of the ego, because the ego needs the known to be able, the known, the familiar, the comfortable, to be able to go forward accordingly. So if you step into the unknown, you scare the shit out of your ego. Depending on your self-concept, the conscious mind may even get concerned, and the subconscious mind just gives you what you feed it anyway. So what it's doing is this side of things is kind of acting on like a desperate plea to get you to stay where you are, because the unknown is not familiar, and familiarity breeds comfort. So not being familiar breeds discomfort, and discomfort brings a higher likelihood of unsafety. Unsafeness? I don't know. So this is basically all shitting itself, going, are you sure you want to take us into this dark area that we've never seen before? If you give in to those thoughts and feelings, and you're just saying, no, keep me where I am. If you choose to commit to those new thoughts and feelings anyway, you say, yeah, let's see what happens. And that's when you break through. So yes, mental purges are very real. And it's a good sign. It's a very good sign, because it's your mind saying, we're about to step out. Are you sure? Are you ready for this quest at hand, basically? Whew. So that is it for all the questions. Is there any like comments, like just like hi?
Yeah, I'll read
we'll go for a couple of those.
Lovely. Let me just see. Now I need to scroll all the way back up. Sorry, it's really tricky. Oh, I have a quick fire one if you want to do it without the board. The best affirmation for manifesting physical appearance.
Depends what you want, but I am so happy to have X physical appearance. If it's 19-inch biceps, I'm so happy to have 19-inch biceps, for example.
I personally love just being like, I absolutely love the way I look.
Or that too, if you want to go general, yeah.
Just, yeah, because I know what I want to look like, so I love that. So BJ Massey said, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm just trying to, all of these are questions. I feel really bad. Oh, somebody said, so Party Ush Daz said, your cartoon collection above the whiteboard looks amazing.
Yeah,
it goes all the way down. Yeah. There is 350. Is that what you counted last time?
Something
like that. You two are cute together, says Nangam. Oh, I already read that one, but somebody said that theirs was skipped. Like I said, I am really sorry. And most of the time it's not because we've skipped. It is just because they're in parts. Because, small text. She's so sweet. You all are great together. That was wild and free. Oh, thanks.
Thank you.
Asia said, you're so kind. Come on live and help people. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Then I think
I'll probably do this more frequently if you guys enjoy this.
Try and make it more regular. Martin said, thank you too.
You're welcome.
Candy Crazy said, thank you so much for responding to me, Matt and Kat.
You're welcome.
Mr. Guy said, you two make such a lovely couple, really well matched and relaxed together.
Thank you very much.
That's fair because we're in a live. No.
Yeah, we hate each other really.
Somebody said, can I ask a question here, Gloria? So on the next one for definite, and yeah, if you just put them in the chat, we do get to as many as we possibly can. Starting at the very top, and we just work our way down. And yeah, lots of people did get a bit confused saying, are they in a different chat? Somebody suggested as well, I saw, to ask us on Facebook. So you can join our Facebook group and put your questions in there. And then the community that's already in there will try and help you and support you with those questions. And then if we get a chance to, and either of us see them, then we also try and, reply. So then Yasmin said, amazing, thank you. I'm pretty sure that happened to me today. I was in such a bad state. I affirmed through it and I was like, ooh, so that's what's bothering me, and I felt so much better. And then somebody said, how do you donate so that they can ask the question? I actually don't know. I've never done it.
Yeah, I've never donated on YouTube either.
I think maybe it's
called a super chat.
I think it's this bit just there next to the comment. But I don't know. And yeah, we're really sorry for anybody questions that we missed, but we'll catch them in the next one, hopefully.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is it for today, because it's now 9:45 at night and we have to go and kind of chill because it's been a long day. If any of you are interested in the Academy, I put it here just to advocate. The Academy has all of my courses available and more. Once you're in the Academy, you'll get anything that's new. It now does have a monthly payment option as well, if you didn't want to pay for the full price of like the lifetime subscription, which is perfectly fine. But it comes with all of the courses. It comes with a private Telegram group, which I'm in quite regularly. All of the exclusive members only videos, including Katie talking about her experience and many, many more. I think there's only over 100. Every one of my products for free and a 25% discount on every other. service and a 50% discount on the iManifest for you and more. There's more bonuses. I'm just not going to sit here and chew your ear off about more. So I would highly recommend you sign up for the academy and be a part of it, because even just, I mean, the specific person course on its own costs more than the academy. So you may as well just join the academy and get that for cheaper if you wanted that. So, there's a specific person course, a self-concept course, an overcoming anxiety course, and currently a work in progress is a 21-day manifesto SP course, a body language course, a 48 laws of power course, and I'm currently doing a few extra bits for the self-concept course. So there's a shit ton on there. I recommend you check it out, and obviously all the links are below if you are interested. If you really wanted your question asked and I haven't asked it now, when this goes live and becomes available for everyone to watch, just drop it in the comments and then I'll bring it into the next time I do a live stream, or I'll answer you in the comments and we can go from there.
Just really quickly, someone, Redhead, if you just screenshot your chat, because it's a 5-part question, they said. So it went through in little pieces at a time. If you screenshot those,
were they one of the donations?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. They couldn't work out how to do it.
Oh,
but
okay.
yeah, if you can just screenshot it and then you can post that into the Facebook group, and then the community can try and get back to you on that one, because I can't find all the little parts. I'm really sorry.
Yeah. But thank you very much for being here, everyone. I do really appreciate it. If you have enjoyed this, we definitely can do it more often. I prefer this than just kind of talking to the camera. So yeah, let me know. But thank you for being here, everyone, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. You want to say bye?
Bye. Sorry.